Welcome back to Central News. Yesterday we heard about the complementary therapies proposed for depression. Today Professor Shaun tells us about the ins and outs of clinical trials.
Clinical trials are the way in which we test new medicines. If we didn't have clinical trials, we wouldn't have any new medicines, so they're really, really important. There's not too many in New Zealand, they're more common overseas, but there are quite a few. I think it's a fascinating subject. That's what I've spent most of my professional career doing.
How safe are the trials?
There's a range, so obviously the first time a drug goes into a person, and there always has to be one person somewhere in the world who's the first to receive it, that's more high risk. That's still very, very safe. Very rare you have any problems because they use tiny doses and they work up the doses. And then you've got the other range of trials, which is large ones just before a drug hits the market. The drugs have already been well tested by that stage, and again, usually very safe. But there's risks and benefits with all medicines, whether in a trial or either even on the market.
And what are the benefits and risks?
Well, it depends on the condition. So the general benefits that a person might have is, first of all, what I say to everyone on a trial is, look, I can make no guarantees for you. You can't guarantee with any medicine, whether a trial one or not, it's going to help someone. But what you can guarantee is that by taking part in a trial, you're going to help people in the future. Because the research will either be positive and we'll have new treatments. And even if it's negative, we can rule out that line of inquiry and try other treatments. So I can guarantee it's going to help people in the future. And that's why most people actually do clinical trials. As to personal benefits, yes, they may get a new treatment. They certainly have access to one that's not on the market, may not even be available for 5 or 10 years. But what you also get is you get very well looked after. So, you have an expert giving you lots of tests, you'll learn about your condition, you get great care for your condition while you're on a trial as part of it. So lots of benefits, but also risks. Yes, you may have a side effect.
So people must find out more about the condition than what they ever knew before.
Oh, they do. I mean, I've done a lot of asthma trials and people know surprisingly little about it. And so you give them all this good information, how to use their inhalers, how to keep safe with asthma, that sort of thing. So people learn that. They have extra tests that you don't get as part of standard practice. So there are some good benefits.
So how can people get involved?
Well, if you've got a condition, the best thing is to ask your doctor. Most trials take part in hospitals, so ask your hospital doctor if you've got diabetes or cancer. Often if you've got cancer, you'll be asked to take part in trials anyway. A lot of patients with cancer take part in trials, and that way we fine-tune chemotherapy treatments, and that's why the survival rates for cancer are improving all the time. So the answer is ask your hospital doctor.
And what trials are happening here in the Waikato-Bay-Plenty region at the moment?
Well, there are lots of trials going on. There's a couple I can tell you a bit about because I'm involved with them. First of all, we have an asthma one going on in Tauranga, well, about to start soon in Tauranga. And again, quite simple, like a lot of my research, very simple. And for people with asthma, the doctor changes the treatment according to just their impression, by asking a few questions. There's no real test for asthma. You can't do a blood test and change the treatment. And what this trial involves is using a really simple scoring system, and if that score is low, then you increase the treatment. Very simple, but it has the potential to affect asthma management around the world. And another trial we have, which has just started, is for diabetes. It's very, very exciting. It's being done all around the world in around 30 countries. About 11,000 people are taking part, and around 200 people in New Zealand will, around 11 centres, including one in Hamilton and 2 in Tauranga. And this is so exciting because the drug that's being tested is not available and won't be for many years. And it's a really interesting medicine because people with diabetes, often it gets worse and worse and they need more and more treatment. Often they'll start on tablets and then they'll have to go to daily insulin injections. With this treatment, you just need a once-a-week injection. Not 4 times a day or 3 times a day like insulin, just once a week. And you don't even have to do your blood sugars like people with insulin have to take blood sugar levels all the time. You don't even need that. However, one of the risks of being on a trial is that you might not get the real thing. So often you'll have a placebo group. So half of the people on this trial will not be getting the drug. They'll be getting something that looks like it, but there'll be nothing in there at all. And that's how you have to do research, otherwise you can't tell if it's working or not.
So is it a bit like a mind over matter type thing, if you have a placebo one but the patient doesn't know that it's not the real thing?
So, yeah, so the placebo effect is very strong. If I give you an inhaler for asthma with nothing in there, but you believe there's something in there, you could get a 30% improvement. Now that's going to happen on clinical trials. So what we have to do, we have to have a group on placebo and then a group on the real medicine, and then you have to see how much more the people on the real medicine improve other than placebo. So that's one of the downsides of being on a trial. There is a risk that you'll get a medicine with nothing in there. But you are informed about this. You're told about, you've got a 50-50 chance, you may get the real one or not, and you can decide whether to take part or not.
So what sort of things do people need to consider before they put their hand up for a clinical trial?
If you hear about one, what you'll get is an information sheet. They're quite long, they tell you all the risks and benefits. They're actually full of legal language, so read it, but then talk to your doctor, who will tell you about the risks and benefits for you of taking part.
Is there anything else that you want to add in relation to clinical trials?
I'm biased. I think trials are a great thing to do. I spend my career doing them. I take part myself whenever I can to help myself and to help others, so I encourage people to find out about clinical trials.